Hello, this is Mindy from the Weekend Gardener, and today I'd like to talk to you about fern production. Now, what do you think when you hear the name fern? Well, you normally think about a moist environment, running water, and moss growing on logs. And while that natural environment, it typically describes the environment where ferns are grown, the Boston fern is an exception. This type of fern does not like to have wet feet. Now, what does wet feet refer to? Wet feet refers to the root mass. Now, this plant doesn't like it extremely dry, but it doesn't like it extremely wet. It likes an evenly moist soil. So, I just purchased this plant from a local nursery for a marked down price, and this is not a prime specimen by any stretch of the imagination. But what I'm going to do when I get it home is I'm going to first test to see if the plant needs to be watered. Now, how do you do that? Believe it or not, all you need is your finger. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to stick your finger into the soil, and you're going to stick it down to this second knuckle. So I'm going to do that right now. And Boston ferns typically have a pretty dense root system, so you may have to work with this a little bit. Once you reach that second knuckle, you're going to pull it straight up. Now, as you can see, my finger doesn't have a lot of soil on it. That's an indication to me that this plant needs to be watered, and I need to water it until I see water coming out of the bottom of the container. That tells me that that soil is evenly moist. If it had caked mud on my finger, that would be an indication that I didn't need to water this plant. Beyond that, you should be very successful in your Boston fern production. So until we meet in the garden again, this has been Mindy from the Weekend Gardener.